board games.
Ooh.
Which is your favorite board game? And I will start. I like very much Catan. Also, there are other games that it's a pity because we have been discussing during the weekend with Bradley and another guy who was here called Chanik about board games and how cool DAOs play board games together. And Bradley is a huge fan of board games, so it's a pity that the day that this question is made he's not here. But my favorite, I think, is Catan. Also, we have been discussing that a game called Diplomacy will be very good for being played by different DAOs, which is about you are a nation before the World War One, and you have to do your alliances between the different nations in order to conquer different territories, and all the movement. There are not turns. All the movements are made at the same time, so you can end up threatened. I don't know which is the word. By your friends, and it's just wow, surprise. So it's like after it was being played by people sending letters during the 20th century, and it was the second game played over the internet after chess. So probably it's one of the most interesting games to be played by DAOs at some point. I will pass it to Septi. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm pretty classical. I like chess. Yeah, that's my favorite board game. I was playing some with some friends in Igualada, but every week we were playing something different, so I never got to learn any other game. So yeah, I would say chess. I'll pass it to Griff.
I also want to add, this week I will bring the topic of bonding curve, all the changes and updates. That's my only topic, I think. Griff, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I missed that. That passed it to me. I think I also love Settlers. I like the collaborative games too. There's like the werewolf game or any of those games where it's like there's like a spy in there and it's like it's kind of like I guess the spy can win or you can win, but also I don't know. I feel like there's some really cool collaborative games out there that are pretty fun to play. Where it's like oh man, I played Pandemic. The other not too long ago, which was an awesome collaborative game given the circumstances lately. So I'll probably say that Pandemic and Settlers. How about you, Nogan?
Yeah, I think I remember. Maybe I've answered a question like that also in the past. My game, which I have had most fun with, is called in English. I just looked it up. A Dark Overlord. And it's more of it's not that much of a board game, but more like an improvised theater game. Like you play like five to eight people, and one is like the Dark Overlord, and the rest are just like his servants, and the servants just fucked up very hard some mission they were given, and the game consists of kind of passing the ball to the other, so telling that he actually fucked up and you are innocent. And you have to convince the boss that you are not at fault. And you kind of draw cards to get inspiration to make up the completely ridiculous stories, because the thing is you cannot say no. So if some guy says, yeah, I was going to do that, but then he convinced me to get drunk, you have to say, yes, okay, I did that, but only because that guy there had actually done whatever. So you kind of pass the buck, and it's great fun. And yeah, I'll pass directly to Magna.
Yeah, Magna. So we're starting out with a fun question. What's your favorite board game? Uh-oh. Magna, you're muted if you want to jump in.
Hey, hello.
Welcome. So
Hey there.
we always start these calls with like kind of a fun intro question, and this one was, what's your favorite board game?
My favorite board game maybe is chess.
Nice. That was Zep's as well. Cool. Well, I don't imagine you have any agenda topics, Magna. I forgot to say mine. I also just want to like run through timeline at least and confirm that it looks good based off of the parameter stuff that SoftGov came out with, and of course just check in on all the other agenda topics that are always there. Nugget, did you have any topics that you wanted to include in the agenda?
No, not really. Like, well, maybe since I missed the hack session with the dashboard yesterday, maybe if you can say something important that I should know, but no.
Okay. If there's extra time, I'll also throw something about snapshot and what we want to do there. Okay, well, Sam, do you want to start with augmented bonding? Well, maybe, okay, no, we start with status updates. So we'll leave augmented bonding curve for the end. What about gardens, Sam? I think we found Fabri and Gabby are going to work on gardens a bit.
Yes, I don't have updates on that part. I think that we can just relax, and tomorrow I will ask them how is it going. In gardens, they are also. I don't think that this is related with Commons Swarm, but we are changing the. Well, for only one reason. We are also changing the smart contracts for conviction voting, so it's probably good to add the changes in the request token and the stake token, so then it can be changed in the future if TEC wants. I think that this is something that is very good for TEC.
Nice. So wait, so when can you talk about that a little bit more? Token.
You're breaking a lot, Griff. I don't know which was the question.
What do you mean exactly by the changes for the request token and the stake token?
It will be as it is right now. In order to change them, you have to reinstall the conviction voting and change all the connections that, for example, the agreement has or the hooks. It's a mess. It's really a mess. So now that it's being updated, let's use this change in order to add this ability to change the request token and the stake token. We could include the vault as well, the common pool address. So it will be way easier to do any change in the DAO in the future.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So we can just upgrade the conviction voting pools, and we can upgrade the. So just giving functionality to being more, like making more changes.
More adaptable. So, for example, you will not have to wait until the vesting is done in order to change the request token or the stake token or things like that.
Nice.
I think that it's very needed for any garden.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes a lot of sense. So then the idea would be that would get included. So like the effectively, I could tell people that for the 75% stuff, the governance givebacks, we're working to get the precursors needed into the smart contracts before
Kind
the
of,
upgrade.
kind of. It will make the change way smoother.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I'm just trying to think, is there like, there's probably some permissions things that we'll be curious to set up correctly, and then there's also going to be some, like, is there anything else that we should think about along those lines that might need to be also configurable that would help? Like the voting strategies around, like the voting token. I guess that's what the stake token is.
Yeah, this is the stake token. No, I think that it's a change for the conviction voting only. It doesn't guarantee that we can do any kind of change in the future. It just makes some kind of changes easier.
Okay. And so with the stake token, for instance, we would need to make a smart contract that basically still acts as like some kind of middleware between whatever non-transferable token and.
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a change that makes upgrades easier, but it doesn't make anything else. It just lets the door open in order to do updates.
Okay. That's great. That's really great news.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that's being updated in conviction voting that we should have on our radar?
Yes, it's not related explicitly for TEC, but it's related with Giveth. We will be we discussed last week about adding this stake effective stake to be absolute, not relative, so it works better for Boboli Gardens.
Oh, nice.
And the other change is a change in the parameter. A change in the permission of creating votes in order to make it configurable. So an ACL oracle can tune it and only allow certain people to create votes, and it will be useful for Bright ID.
Nice. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So you have to be a Bright. So the use case would be you have to be validated by Bright ID, like a verified Bright ID person to vote. Oh, that's super cool.
In order to vote, no. In order to create votes, I think that they also wanted at some point to be
just to create votes.
Yeah, it's just to create votes.
Okay, interesting.
We have to think a little bit more about that, because it's the permission to create votes is easy. The permission to vote, the permission is just having tokens. So if you have tokens, you should be able to stake them. Then this is why it's trickier.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is something else. I didn't want to get into the weeds with this.
Well, it's very relevant. I mean, it's knowing these things is pretty cool. Is good to know. That this could be a future application. Once we launch. Okay, cool. Migration tool, no updates there, I assume.
No, I didn't understand this.
Migration tooling, like that's all done, I assume.
Yeah. The only thing in relation to the rest of the commons upgrade is we need to write tests in order to do the improve the tests that we already have with the Commons upgrade in order to do all of it programmatically and make sure that it's working before we do the demo. But it should not take so long. Paulo already did most of the work.
Cool.
He had it working.
And what about EVM CRISPR? Any updates there?
No, not this week.
Nice. TEC Convert, I assume no updates there either.
We will need to change some stuff with the changes that we have been doing in the contract, for sure.
Cool.
Actually, when we go to the... Yeah, I will comment the changes when we go into the smart contract.
Okay. Cool.
It will not be so much, by the way. It's not a lot of changes. It was already working, so
yeah,
it should not take so.
Nice. Okay. Wait, so the TEC Convert, it was working a while ago, but it wasn't working like a month ago, right? Like there was something.
I think that the version that is working is the Rinkevi convert. It's called rinkevi.convert.teccommons.org.
Ooh, okay.
But I don't remember if it's working or not right now.
When I tested it, the Rinkevi was working and XDAI wasn't.
That's the point.
It's rinkevi.convert.teccommons.org, or what was it?
Yes. This is the URL.
Wow, that's super cool to know that it's out there and able to be played with. Oh, it's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Okay, cool. Well, I'll play with that, and I can add that to our community call. Great. On the config dashboard, we are going to move to the winning repo probably on Tuesday, worst case Wednesday. There's a lot of back-end work that's still in the works, and Nuggin, I actually closed your pull request because you were doing slippage correctly, and that was the question. I think if anything, I'm glad you mentioned the tooltip. We need to change the tooltip, I guess, because it's.
Sorry.
Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
No. That I saw your answer. I kind of made a new PR with the correct slippage and just the changes that Pedro asked me. But yeah, thanks for bringing that up because I was also like half thinking if the slippage was right or wasn't. So it's great that we have the confirmation now that this is how we want it to work. Yeah,
it's the slippage experience, not like the change from the transaction. So it was just I think that with the tributes being taken out and then the fact that it is kind of like heavy weighted towards I don't know, I just thought the numbers looked a little weird being 1/3 about off, so but it makes sense. So the big thing on the dashboard is the time. Well, maybe I'll take this as a chance just to say the timeline of the config dashboard. So the idea is that on tomorrow or the next day, we will have all of the issues going into the live repo, which means people could actually vote on token log sometime, for sure by Wednesday or worst case Thursday. But they shouldn't, right? Like if you vote on something during that time, it's like mostly just a little bit to get like people to see that this is an interesting proposal to fork. And then we're really focused. There's a blog post, there's a forum post out there that's like, this is like play and learn right now for this period of time. And then the next period of time is like learn and debate. So starting on the 11th or something like that. Oh man, I guess I should get this post up. We will actually start moving towards more parameter debates, and that's where people will bring their proposals and they will discuss whether or not they are like, and they'll present them, and then they'll be challenged on whether or not they're good. And so that'll be fun. And then there's after that there is the debate and vote period, and that will start really on the 19th. And so we'd hope to have all the votes in for the runoff by the 23rd. So from the 19th to the 23rd is when we would encourage people to vote on the final parameters. And then we'll have a committee just to certify the results, making sure that there aren't forks that are splitting votes that keep them out of the top four, even though they were supported by the people. And just kind of a check on with token log, it doesn't quite work. It's easy to split votes and stuff. And then to figure out if we have 3 or 5 or 3, 4 or 5 proposals in the runoff. And then we'll have the runoff, and the runoff will be settled. It will happen for 6 days from the 25th to the 1st. So on the 1st on the 1st of December, we'd have parameters, and that means we'd want to actually deploy the safe version basically on the 2nd and launch this thing with those parameters. So that's kind of the timeline for the params dashboard and the voting process from SoftGov that's been outlined. And and I guess what I'd say is that kind of before I would say at least 2 weeks before the launch, I feel like it would be good to have a community demo that is presented that lets people actually play with it, and that would be a minimum 2 weeks for user testing to make sure that there are no issues that need to be fixed on anything.
I guess that it's okay to have it on Rinkeby, right?
That's okay. I mean, not for I wouldn't. It's okay, but man, I guess it's not preferred in my opinion, because stuff changes when it's on XDAI, right? I mean, the block times change, and the XDAI deployment is generally more up to date. Are they gonna, when they make the? Yeah, I feel like they keep the XDAI deployment more up to date, right?
The problem is, how do we set a garden? I mean, there is two ways to set up this demo. One is having people playing with it with an interface, and the other is running tests in a controlled XDAI fork, or even XDAI if we want. But mixing them will create. It will be like creating a garden before the real garden. So it will, and it's a garden that then we cannot change. It will be there forever. The only, or we redeploy a different front end for gardens and do a lot of things that doesn't. I think that they are going to be too much work for the reward that we.
Well, I know. At least Giveth has a test gardens deployment on XDAI that's a different front end than the regular gardens. I guess the big thing that I'm worried about is these small changes that will happen on XDAI around permissions and around other things. I feel like you're right that I think the community demo will more elucidate front end issues. So the Rinkeby deployment makes total sense, and I think that's fine. As long as As long as somehow we can
Sorry.
check the permissions are all the same, and whatever is functional on Rinkeby would also be functional on XDAI.
You say that Giveth has a test garden in Excel.
Yeah.
Which is the URL?
Oh, it's something crazy. Like pedantic giraffe or something like that. Let me see.
Okay, that could make more sense. It will, yeah. But I guess the thing that I don't want to do is to redeploy the graph, the subgraph, because that's a lot.
Yeah.
But and this is probably one of the things that we have to do in order to, if we are going to update the template. So I don't want to be trapped in that situation in which a small change in the template in order to redeploy a new something, we have to update the graph, and it's going to be a lot of effort. That doesn't pay at the end of the day, because it's we can do the same thing on Rinkeby, or we can do the same thing programmatically and check out that everything is working.
I just put the link to the test gardens in the Commons channel.
Okay.
So if on Rinkeby, when we do the upgrade, we wouldn't have to redeploy the subgraph?
No, not necessarily, because we are using a normal gardens. And maybe with that front end, if it didn't change so much, maybe we can use that same front end for TEC.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, what gave me all the confidence in the world is what you just said about like making sure that all the testing is on XDAI, like making a test deployment that is running all the tests of things that we expect to do.
Actually, it's way better to have these tests programmed. So and forking XI, and I think that this is it is something that we have to do whatever it happens, just to avoid the situations in which we have a vote and it cannot be executed or something like that.
Yeah. Is there
and we have the tooling now, so
is there anything that like Nuggin or Vi or anybody could support with on writing tests?
No, I don't think that for writing tests. Not for writing tests.
Okay.
No worries. I can take care of this.
Okay, cool. And and I know you love having a partner in crime. What's the story with Paulo this month? Is he gonna have some space to hack on a lot of these issues as well?
Not this week, and I don't know how much time. He's doing a kind of course, and he's coming very late at home. If I have some, we have been talking. If I have some issues with the Commons upgrade, he can help. He has been more focused on the Commons upgrade, so he knows better. But yeah, he's not as much available as the last weeks because of this course.
Do you know when the course will end?
I think it was an intensive course, so it's not going to take a lot of time. It's 2 weeks, maybe 1 week, 2 weeks.
Okay, great. Cool.
It's not like a course of months or something. It's the most it's going to take is I don't know. But it's not going to be a long time.
Okay, cool. Well, I think that was a roundabout description, but it sounds like, I mean, deploying on Ring Computer XDI will be a game time decision, but what's your estimate for getting at least an internal demo ups and sorted?
My estimation is I want to finish it by the 5th, as it was already planned.
Nice.
At least have the everything sorted out, and if then we start doing demos and these things, it's okay. But I just want to have everything prepared for the 5th.
Sick. And then is there any thing that you feel like support would be best used for to get that?
Testing, I guess. I mean manual testing, or just try to break things and see if they break.
Okay. Testing and making issues on them. Okay. And so that will be.
But do not expect to have all the issues solved. No. All the new issues solved by the 5th.
No. It's just the ABC would be complete, and we'll be able to use TEC Convert at the very least.
Yeah.
And hopefully Gardens with wrapped XDI.
Yeah. That's the point. Even if, I mean, the front end is not yet clear that we will have the front end, but we will have a Gardens.
Okay.
I don't know if the front end is going to show the XDI or not yet, but the Gardens will be there.
Nice. Okay, that's sick.
Should we start with the bonding curve changes?
Yeah, let's go.
I will share the screen and let's see. Okay, so this is the document, and I will go through all the issues. So the first issue about we had this safe. We were using transfer from one of the functions that receive approval, and it had to be changed to save transfer from, and it was done like 2 weeks ago or something like that by Bradley and me. So it's already completed. This second one, it's about checking the length of the bytes of when you are calling. Maybe it's better if I explain it with the code. Let me a sec. This is the we needed to check out if these bytes here had 132 bytes exactly, in order to ensure that this was secure. This was this other one that was very important, and it's already done. It's done here. I did it right now. And the third one.
Can you zoom in just a little bit? Just because it's like, it's very centered, there's a lot of side.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks, man.
So these two are ready. This third, it's not ready, and I don't know how to. When I am changing address transfer for address value call, or no, sorry, address call value, the test start failing, and the transfer is not done, and I don't know what is going on. So this one is it's still. I still have to check out how it works, and if I cannot figure out, then it's going to be one of the questions to make to Brett. So this one that is not that much important, but it's still in a warning. My opt to use additional. This one is. This one is being taken by Paulo. He has a pull request that is here, but because it makes the changes appropriately. Actually, wait a sec. I think that this is not the one. Does it close then? Yes, it closed then. Okay, wait a sec. I am just confused. I have all the criticals in the same place. So let's start with the criticals. This one is not the one. This one is the one. This one, Pablo has this pull request, but the problem is that what we wanted is a test that makes sure that this is the change that we want. Basically, is changing the order in which we are burning. And now the test passes with these changes, but still, how do we know if this is the correct move or not? So we still need to check out if that's the way to go. So this is the second issue that needs some more time to review, and which is critical.
What's the did he start? He started writing the test, right?
Yes, the test is here, but the thing is that it's the test taking into account that the new values are different, but we don't know if with the formulas of the bonding curve, we don't know if that's the correct thing to do or not. So this is why we have to. I will be writing a test in order to check out that this is the correct thing to do to burn after the fees are removed.
That's gonna be really interesting. Do you know what your strategy is for that test?
I think that I will fund it and then remove the funds and see if that's what we are expecting. What does it make? By the way, I think that it's like, yeah, it's also not about the fees. It's about the when should you burn. You should burn after or before the calculation. It's not about the fees. So yeah, what I want to do is to have a clear idea that the maths stands. So this is the second one that is critical and it's not yet solved. This third one, it's solved. Its collateral value is valid. Should not have a case where tokens are pre-deposited by a user. This one is well, I don't remember right now. It is solved. And this other one, transfer should not use token transfer or change behavior based on the pre-approval state. This is because this receive approval interface that we have that actually we are not using, but it's if we have it in the contract, it's a good thing not to remove it. And for some reason, Shokai thinks that we did not understand well. Actually, I didn't add this function, and I still trying to understand how it works. It was maybe we can ask Will in that case because he was the one who added it, and maybe he can give more information to what it is about. And Shokai thinks that we can remove a boolean that we are using in order to change from transfer and transfer from, and he thinks that we should be using transfer from all the time, but when I am trying it just fails, so it's still not there. So by the way, the issues that are missing are only these 5, but 3 of them are critical. So we have to focus on these 3, and the rest of them that I am going to go through now. The rest are closed, and the only 2 ones that are not that important are here. I still think that we can manage to make this check that all the collaterals are ERC compatible. I don't know how to do that, but probably I can ask Gabi first before asking Shokai back. And that's it. Let's go through the document.
Should we tag Will in this issue, the transfer issue?
I prefer to ask him directly through a message.
Okay, it's just like DM him the link.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so going back to the notes, these 2 are done by 2 commits that didn't have an issue assigned. The hard hat, actually Gabi did a pull request, but it's not completely working. So I am excluding it for now because it's changing a lot of the tooling internally, and it can. I could not make it work, and it's like it's going to be a mess to make it work. I don't know if that's going to be, if he can figure out how to use hardhat instead of builder, that's fine. But if not, I think that we can go with the builder. The approve and call interface, this was Nugan's, and I just did another change, Nugan.
Yes, I saw it, no problem.
The idea was to make it even more explicit, because if not, it's I think that it's better like this.
Yes, I agree. It's great.
And this was taken part by Paulo. The 2 permissions thing, I think that it's interesting to have one permission to buy and one permission to sell, because maybe we want to let people with Bright ID or whatever to buy, and we don't want to have any permission to sell, whatever. We can have. It's better that it's granular. in my opinion. So I just closed this issue. The issue with including open, Shokai was thinking, is this open functionality required? And if it is, should we have a close functionality? And I think that he's right, and I just removed the open. So now in order to open a bonding curve, you just have to add a token as collateral, and that's it. That's what you need. So for in the future, we will not have to use this open function, and for the commons upgrade, we will be opening the bonding curve by adding this collateral, and when you are adding the collateral, you are specifying which is the reserve ratio. So it will be specified at the moment in which we open it, which is also good, in my opinion, because if we do this way, we will be able to choose which is the opening price. Exactly, because we will have all the...
Nice.
Yeah, we will not have to guess how much people is rage quitting.
That's amazing. That's incredible.
We also could have made this before opening, but I mean adding the collateral and opening at the same time. But I think that it's okay now. Okay, and what else? There was 3 permissions in order to manage the collateral, and now I just added 1. So we simplified the permissions here. Also, there was something that was easier to do with delete collaterals instead of deleting each one of the variables. I think that it was done sometime in the past by Paulo. We also removed the initialized check. I think that it was Paulo as well this time. The balance of there is this function balance of that I made internal, and he was talking about the most roles are important, management is highly sensitive, as a warning that do not mess up with the roles. But it's more like a warning, not an issue.
By roles, does he mean permissions, or what does he mean?
Yes. Do not mess up with the permissions.
Yeah.
If you mess up with one permission, you are done.
Oh God.
But it's more like a warning.
Yeah.
Okay. So I already talked about these 3, and now there are here 2 that were taken by B, and the thing is that this message sender was not a message sender. It was a message value. And this other one, it's something else. So I just had to retake these 2 issues because they were not so much clear. So I think that they are fine right now as they are. This other issue to make the make by order more efficient, it's not done, and I don't know if we will be able to make it, because it's only about removing a nest store which costs gas, but at the same time it's not something that we have to care in next day. And also it makes the code a little bit more complicated, because you have to remove, you have to get all the tokens at once and then distribute it to the common pool and the reserve from the same contract. But I don't know if that makes the code a bit more difficult to follow. So maybe in that case we can just do not make this, and it's not something that is going to break anything. This other one, let me see. Bond amount, it had a check that it's not needed, but at the same time it is okay to have this explicit check. So I just left it as it is. Then the virtual balance and supply, it's something that we could do. There is something that it will be very wrong with if the AVM script is not done properly. That could cause a huge arbitrary opportunity. And Shokai was proposing something else, but still it's very difficult, and I think that it doesn't follow the structure of what a bonding curve should make. So it's better if we just leave the bonding curve for doing what it should be doing, and use the governance tokens in have another structure in order to create governance tokens.
Yep. Can the conviction voting double token method is the path forward, so we don't have any actions here.
And this last one is about checking that the collateral tokens are ERC20. And I don't really know how to make this check. I
think it's social. Isn't it like whitelisted tokens as in the collateral token? I mean, our intention is to only add tokens socially, so I feel like this can just be a social check, and it's just a reminder, a warning. Make sure that it's ERC20. Not an ERC777 token that can have tokens taken out of the bonding curve or something crazy like that.
Actually, this is going to be XDAI, and that's it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Wrapped XDAI.
I mean, there is a lot of issues that we should not have to care about, but we are caring about because we want a very good contract. But really, there are many of the issues that we have been working on that we really don't need. For example, all the ones that take into account the ETH. So we are going to make this, by the way, but at the same time, if we were letting here a transfer, that would not be a huge issue. So the only issues that are remaining are these 5, and we will start with the critical, and then I hope to have them very quick. Like I think that we should be able to have this like in 2 days or so. Probably we can start working on the commons operator.
Nice. Yeah, and a convert will need some modification as well, you said, right?
Yes.
Is there
I still don't know which modifications. Probably because of this change in the burning. Maybe we need to make the same thing in the convert. I think that
Okay.
this is going to be the only change, because the other change that we have been doing, the is open, and yeah, I think that we have to check if that is looking to some things have changed, so we have to check that everything is working again, but especially this is the one.
Yeah. Nice. Well, that's awesome, man. Well, is there anything else? We're at the top of the hour. Do you have any other? Is there any way that anyone can support you, or any issues that you see that you especially want to discuss quickly?
No, I think that I can keep working on this, and it if I need some help, I will just ask.
Nice. Well, I know Nuggin and ViViV are around, so you can always go directly to them too. But cool. Well, thanks. Thank you, Sem, for a great overview of all that awesome work that you guys have already accomplished. 11 of these issues are closed. That's pretty epic.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see the test on the make sell order to see if it really was which way it was, if it was right or not.
Totally.
It'll be really interesting to see. Yeah. And
this one is very important to make it right.
yeah, for sure. And it's very interesting too, maybe it was right all along. Otherwise, Brett is goddamn genius. I mean, my God, how do you just pull that out just by looking at it, but yeah. So, well, thank you, Sem, for the great presentation, and thank you, Anson and Chao Shu, thanks for jumping in, but it's just the end of the call, so. And Zep, I would love to chat with you really quick if you have a second. Maybe I'll just call you. And Nuggin, actually, I need to talk to you too, man. We should set up a call as well.